I'm sure every single one of you own or at least have heard of an iPhone. We use them in most of our everyday lives, from setting alarms to wake up each morning to keeping in touch with family and friends, posting on Instagram with the caption senior year, or even just keeping up with the news in other people's lives. Whatever it may be, you know you can count on your iPhone to connect you with the entire world. With that being said, silence those phones and join me by learning a little bit more about the invention of the first phone, a timeline of iPhone's features, and the future of the mobile technology that has become so ordinary in our daily routines. But before we zoom in on the iPhone itself, let's take a look at the invention of the very first phone to inspire its creation. Antonio Meucci, credited for inventing the first prototype in 1849. Frenchman Charles Bourseul, known for devising the phone in 1854. Alexander Graham Bell, a name I'm sure we've all heard before, known for winning the first U.S. patent in 1876 for inventing the very first electric telephone. Alexander experimented with harmonic telegraphing for years until he came to success. But you may be wondering, what is a harmonic telegraph? A harmonic doesn't mean in a musical way like you may think, but instead it's a mix of frequencies or waves. A telegraph is a system of communication able to transmit messages to other people by creating signals. Both of these combined, you have a mobile system able to transmit these messages, but up to only 6 miles away. But Alexander had hoped that with time and effort, he could adjust it to reach all the way across the world. So there it began. He aligned businesses with his assistant Thomas Watson to create the very first phone brand, AT&T, standing for American Telegraph and Telephone Company. According to an article published by Elon University, by 1880, almost 49,000 telephones were now being used. But the numbers skyrocketed in 1900 to 600,000 telephones. And just 10 years later, 2.2 million spiraled to 5.8 million telephones now being operated. Just as Alexander had imagined, this becomes America's most popular indispensable tool. Changing subjects, let's swipe up into the progression of iPhone's features over time to improve its technology. The idea of this phone was shared by Steve Jobs in January of 2007, and its final release June 29th. This iPhone had a 3.5-inch touchscreen, as well as a camera and options of different apps such as YouTube, Safari, and Maps, to name a few. For example, the iPhone 5 now had also options of Siri, iMessages, and iCloud to save and download all your favorite photos. 2 years later, plus-size models were being introduced, but no new additions were being added. We now had the option of fingerprint Touch ID, AirDrop to share any photos, and Apple Pay if you just so happen to forget your card. However, in 2018, with the iPhone X and XR, you now have the ability to unlock your phone with a quick scan of your face, as well as also having improvements in your pictures with the idea of a dual camera system more commonly being introduced. As of now in 2022, we haven't made any improvements in the features, but instead we're putting effort, funding, and resources into doing so. With that being said, it doesn't all just end there. We can expect a lot to come from Apple, but with the release of the iPhone 14 just this past September, we can't count on another phone until the iPhone 15 in 2023. Rumors say that this model will have a completely full screen, meaning no more annoying black rims around your screen or your camera. Current iPhones with Touch ID might not continue going forward, but instead, Apple is embracing Face ID in all newer models. Now let's say you have an iPhone with Touch ID, such as the iPhone SE. This will no longer be supported after the release of the iPhone 15, but before the iPhone 16. According to Min-Chi Kuo, a technology analyst from TF International Securities, says he believes there will be a slow stop in the production of iPhones in just 10 years by 2032. Now, while we let that sink in for some of you, let's take a look at what we learned today. We looked at the invention of the first phone, which led to the introduction of the first iPhone, a timeline of iPhone's features, and the future of the mobile technology. Whether iPhones are continued or not, I'm sure this device will continue to be a huge part of our lives and affect us with our daily lifestyles.